Gate tonight at the Rogers Arena, 995,624 Canadian. Attendance, 10,533. Performance bonuses, fight of the night, no surprise here, Jim Miller versus Joe Lozon. And 2 performance bonuses to Paige Van Zandt and Damian Maia. So who's got the first question?
Tom, just quickly, if we could start with you. Of course, it's it's up to Dana and Joe and those guys. But did they give you any indication of what could be happening with the welterweight picture next? We think that it's going to be Wonder Boy for Woodley, but obviously Damian Maia had a huge win tonight. Did they give you any indication of what they plan to do? Because I don't think we've seen an official announcement.
No, there hasn't been an official announcement. I think obviously they were waiting to see what was going to happen tonight. We saw a pretty dominant performance, obviously, and that's up to Dana and Joe Silva. The best in the business, so we'll have to wait and see.
Of course, as the Canadian head, we've got to ask you the George St. Pierre news that keeps rumbling out there. Any updates there with the event in Toronto? Sure looks like it'd be a nice place to target a return for George St. Pierre.
Yeah, it would. I mean, it's really up to George and ourselves to find the right conditions to have him come back. I mean, I'd like to see nothing better than George back, but it's always what's the best for George St. Pierre. He had to sign up and apply for the 4-month program with USADA. He did that effective August the 10th. So that does it open up for Toronto, and it opens it up for dates after Toronto. So anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tom.
Anytime.
If I could with Anthony, huge win for you tonight. Great performance. You said at the beginning of the week you weren't sure exactly how your body would feel, how you would react to being at 145. You did it. You made the cut. Tell us in retrospect, how did it feel?
Yeah, I felt good out there. I felt very powerful. I thought I had him done in the first round. I kind of went too hard, and I had to catch my breath again. But he was a tough dude. I mean, we figured it was going to be a tough fight, but I really thought I had him in the first round. That's why I went so long.
Yeah, you jumped on top of him, which I think was surprising. We thought you'd have the striking edge. Of course, you did end up getting a submission. But talk about the decision to go and get in his guard and to go on the ground with him when it seems like that would be the most dangerous spot.
Yeah, I don't feel like my jiu-jitsu is far off from anybody's. I don't practice the gi, but I hired Diego Moraes for this camp. He lived with me for three or 4 weeks, and we just been drilling positions. We knew he had a dangerous guard. He's good on the back, and it just showed in the fight. Everything we drilled, I just did.
It's a very interesting time in the featherweight division, and I know you're saying you want that title shot. Do you have a roadmap laid out? Do you know what you think should come next, or a name that makes sense for you?
Not really, man. I didn't even know if I could make the weight, to be honest. I was 146, never seen it before. We made the weight. Now I'll map it out, figure out where I want to go. It just feels good to get back in the win column.
Thanks, Anthony. Just quickly, if I could, for Paige, just wanted to ask about your kind of reliance on those flying techniques tonight, the leaping techniques. I mean, it ended up working out for you, but it seemed you started with it and you kept going with it. Why was that? Was that part of the game plan? Just something you saw?
For this one, I definitely knew that she was going to have a high-level boxing, and I wanted to stay out of her range. And the first round, I was trying to be a little smarter in this fight instead of rush her and go straight to closing the distance where she's really confident. I wanted to keep my range, show all of my strikes, and see how she reacted. And I got the reaction I wanted in the first round, so I was able to finish in the second.
And I know that you want to be on that Sacramento card. And it makes a lot of sense. What do you want to do? Because you're in that unique position where you've had the spotlight so early, but I know you've said, listen, I'm not trying to rush anything. So what kind of opponent would you like on that card? Are we talking about a top contender, or is this still kind of a slow build for you?
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that want to take the fight, so it's up to the UFC, and I'm not really worried about it.
Thank you. Just lastly, if I could, for Carlos, I know it's a disappointing night for you. You had talked in the past about maybe the end could be near. I just wonder what the process will be for you. How will you make that decision? How will you take that time? When will you decide what comes next for you if you will fight again?
I'll probably talk to the people around me, talk to my wife, and kind of make the decision after we've had some discussion and done a little bit of assessing of where I'm going, what's on the horizon.
For Anthony, if I could, here in the second row. You mentioned never having made 46 before, and you said earlier in the week that let's get through making it. Now that you've done it, what was the process like? How difficult was it? And do you foresee it being easier for you going forward?
It wasn't that hard, actually. The last 2 pounds was the difficult part. I woke up Friday morning, getting the last 2 pounds off was spiritual, man. I had some guys in my corner that just pushed me to get it done. And yeah, I think 45's, I was supposed to fight Jose Aldo at 45 years back before I fought Ben Henderson. So definitely 45 is a option I'm gonna explore. I felt comfortable in there. I gotta make some adjustments, leading up to the fight, making sure the nutrition's on point. I had Lou Nutrition in my corner. He did a great weight cut for me, and I felt good.
You talked about having the nerves back and enjoying that this week. What did today feel like for you? What did tonight feel like for you compared to some of those fights, some of those recent fights that didn't go your way? Was there a different feeling?
Yeah, man, I had a rough patch. I mean, 3 fights in a row. I wasn't used to that. I had 2 losses my whole career, and then going 3 back to back was I just had to do some soul searching. I had to figure out what drives me, what makes me want to do this, and I went through a lot of stuff. I gotta thank my family, my girlfriend, everybody that's around me that just kept me focused and just made me keep pushing. And I feel like we pushed through. We got a new division, a new goal, 2-division champ, and that's what I'm set out to do.
And for Jim Miller, if I could, you were at a point that you were ready to walk away. You said UFC 200 was going to be about getting to retire in front of the fans. You got the diagnosis figured out. You're feeling better. What's it feel like? What's it mean to you to be at this position now, 2-fight winning streak, after being ready to walk away?
It feels fantastic. I felt like garbage throughout 2015 and early this year. And I thought it was just the wear and tear. And it turned out it wasn't. And to be able to train for UFC 200 and then hop right back in and continue to train and stay in the gym the whole time, it's kind of back to the ways that I used to do it. I've been lucky enough to be, well, I guess I'm a little resilient and a little lucky that I never really had those devastating injuries, and I always trained, I was always in there. And then probably around 2011, a couple injuries and growing family and stuff like that started to slow things down a little bit. But it was awesome to be back to the old way of just being in the gym every day and feeling good and, only feeling those bumps and bruises from training, not all the other stuff, compounding it.
And for Damian, if I could, congratulations on the performance.
Yeah.
It's obviously pretty early, but Brian Stan asked you, and you have wanted that title shot for a little while. Do you have a timeline in mind? Will you talk with your team about if it's going to be a certain amount of time I need to stay active? Or for you, do you want to just wait until that opportunity comes no matter what?
I wait. I can stay active with training and doing my teaching, do whatever I do every day. I think, the guy that I fought today is a guy, he's not just a former champion, but he is also a guy that many people, including me, which, like I said, I was watching ringside or octagon side, his fights against Lawler. And many people, including me, thought he won, and he was supposed to be the champ. So, what else should I do? I'm 6 fights in a row and 6 wins in a row, and that's it,
Right here, a follow-up for you, Damian. Do you feel like, I know Brian Stan said what he said in the cage, but do you feel like this performance tonight could have possibly made the UFC brass reconsider putting Stephen Thompson, maybe giving you the shot first instead?
I think so, I respect very much Thompson, he's a great guy. And of course, I'm much older than him, so if they can give for me first, would be great. If not, I hope they give for him really fast, and they decide that, and I wait for, see who win the fight.
And you tied the record for 3rd most wins in UFC history tonight, 2nd most submissions all time. Does that stuff mean anything to you, or is this career not going to be complete unless you get that title fight and win the belt?
No, I'm very grateful to everything that I, accomplish in my life. I'm very grateful for my family. I'm very grateful for, to be a jiu-jitsu role model and to represent the martial art that I love, and to be able to travel, which is something that I love, to teach jiu-jitsu, giving seminars, everything. So, my life is complete already, and the title shot and the title will be something else, something amazing if it happens. But I'm already, I must be grateful for everything that I have in my life. I come from nothing, And today, you know, I have a nice house. You know, I have everything that I need to live. You know, my kids, they able to study in good schools in Brazil, and you know, I'm able to provide them everything that, you know, many things that I didn't have. So I'm grateful.
And for Carlos, you know, as I mentioned to Damien, second most submission wins in UFC history. Can you explain what it's like to be on the ground with a grappler like him? Is it something that you felt prepared for, and in the fight, maybe it just didn't, it felt a little different? Can you just explain what it's like?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's obviously a you know, super high level jiu-jitsu practitioner. You know, actually, he hit me with a shot from half guard, I think, that rattled me, and I guess I didn't really expect that. And after that, he started moving to mount. I gave up my back because I didn't want to get hit. I was actually, I mean, I was kind of rocked from that shot. And yeah, I mean, he puts together his passing with his striking very well, and you know, that's why he is as good as he is.
Yeah, and of course, you came back for a main event, big fight. Seems like if you'd won, you'd be right back in the mix for a title shot. If you do continue fighting, is it going to need to be big fights like this in order to keep you motivated, keep you going? Or are you just, you know, people mentioned maybe that fight with Matt Brown, people were talking about for a long time. Is that this, like, does that stuff interest you, or does it need to be something like this?
I don't know, man. I don't know if I have any business fighting at this level anymore. You know, I've been at this for a really long time, and you know, the pressure of kind of being one of the top guys for, you know, I mean, you know, almost a decade. It's been I mean, it's been awesome. I've loved to be involved in the sport at the time that I have, and you know, got to do what I love for a living for a long period of time. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I belong here anymore. We'll see.
And finally, for you, Jim, obviously a very close fight. Some people had scored for Joe. One judge did. What were you thinking when the scorecards were being read? Were you confident that it was going to go your way, or was there some doubt there?
When I hear the judges, you know, scores being read, I'm not excited. You know, I basically failed what I set out to do. You know, Joe is a tough as nails, you know, and tough as they come in the sport. And but my plan was to put him away, you know, and I had him rocked pretty good a couple times, and I still couldn't do it. So I was just like, you know, disappointed in myself for not being able to finish him. I really wasn't thinking about it, to be perfectly honest. You know, I knew it was razor thin, but my job's to fight, not to score fights. So, you know, I went out and I did my job, and fortunately I was able to land enough strikes, you know, on the feet and hurt him enough, and then shut him down enough once we hit the mat that you know, I was able to get it.
And finally, for Anthony, did anything about how Charles performed surprise you at all? I mean, I know he took some big shots in the first round, and he came back, and it seems like he was doing well on the feet for a little bit there. Did any of that, you know, catch you off guard?
Yeah, I knew he was tough, but he definitely. I mean, I punched him. I saw his eyes roll back, and I was like, finish. It didn't happen, and you know, he's a gamer. He's number 6 in the world for a reason. So I really wasn't surprised. I just knew I knew I had to take my time, try to catch my breath back, and go back at it.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of people talking on social media afterwards about maybe a fight between you and Max Holloway or someone like that, who I know he's kind of waiting around for a title shot in his own. Is that the fight that someone like that you're looking for, that you think could put you right there, or do you think you need a couple more to? You know?
I'm looking for title shots. I mean, so I'm trying to get down to that title shot. Whatever puts me in that position, if it's him or if it's somebody else, we'll figure it out. I'm gonna sit down with my team, look at our performance, and go from there.
And lastly, for Paige, I know you mentioned in the post-fight interview you kind of made a joke with the Dancing with the Stars, how you learned some stuff there. Did you learn anything from that that's actually applicable to your MMA career now? Do you feel like that matured you as a person, as a fighter?
No, I mean, of course, it was really fun to go on Dancing with the Stars. It was a great experience. But a lot of what happened tonight was just I have a great team. Team Alpha Male has been there for me, and our head coach Justin Buckles just told me what I needed to do to win the fight, and listened to him, and I got it.
For Anthony, in the lead up for this fight, you know, I talked to you coming into this fight, and you talked about the importance of just getting your hand raised again. You know, what was that feeling finally like for you when you reached that moment, you know, after what you've gone through in the last 3 fights, and just being able to do it in such impressive fashion?
Yeah, I'm not used to losing, man. I mean, like I said, I had two fights my whole career, and then I went on a 3-fight losing streak. It was just weird to be in that position, and tonight I just changed that whole fate. It could have went the other way, and who knows where I would be at. But I dug down deep. It was a tough fight, and I got the victory, and it feels good to be back.
Absolutely. And, I also asked you beforehand, how the, fight was going to play out in your mind. And you said that you were looking for the finish. Was that something that was very important for you to do, to sort of make that statement and add that, punctuation mark at the end of the fight?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I don't do well when it goes to judges' scorecards the last 3 fights. So we had to get the finish, and that's what we did. Thanks.
All right. And just for Paige, coming in off the loss to Rose Namajunas, and then you had a break with Dancing with the Stars. Coming in as well, you had a very impressive finish tonight. What did that do sort of for your confidence, just coming in and having that layoff and showing your skills in a very different way tonight?
Yeah, I actually think it's funny how people keep saying I left fighting or I took a break when there's a lot of other fighters who actually have much longer layoffs than I did. It didn't necessarily feel like a huge layoff for me. I was able to go perform on Dancing with the Stars, get straight back into the gym, and prepare for this fight. So yeah, coming off of a loss, I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself to go out there and perform. Losing is the worst feeling in the world, so I knew I had to just do everything possible to get back in the winning column.
Tom, for you, this is a 4th trip back to Vancouver. Didn't feel like there was a lot of buzz early in the week, but a very boisterous crowd tonight that was here and supportive. What are your takeaways and the organization's takeaways from this week in Vancouver? And is this still a market that will see the UFC return regularly?
Oh, absolutely. We've been thrilled here. I mean, $1 Million Gate, 10 fights, and they were terrific fights. We had a fan village before this event, and it was packed. We did all sorts of things this week, and frankly, I think you saw the crowd. The crowd was energized. It was engaged. They saw world-class athletes put on world-class performances, and there's only been one other city in this country that's had more fights than Montreal, and it's Vancouver. I mean, Vancouver and Toronto each had four trips. We'll be back here again, and it's a great market for us. We know it, and I think the fans showed us that we want to come back here.
Just a quick question for Carlos. That was some heavy stuff. I mean, you're saying back there, did you have this feeling kind of coming in like, man, this is I'm going to see right now if I still want to be doing this, or what was your thought process? Was that in your back of your mind that the game might have passed you by at that point?
Honestly, it's definitely been in the back of my mind for a while now. It's been a long career, and I think there comes a point in every fighter's career that they have to kind of question how long they're going to continue to do that, and I've been doing that for a little while. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't my night tonight. I don't know if that's going to be the swan song for me. Hopefully not. I would hate to go out on a loss like this. I would have at least liked to have got in there and put on an exciting show like I usually do. But yeah, I don't know what's in the card. I'm leaning towards probably possibly being done.
I know that the last time you were submitted, I think it was like 10 years ago against Pat Healy. It's been a long time, so it's very difficult to do. But what are your you have great coaching staff. What do they say to you, after a loss like this, and like what's the communication like at that point?
I apologize to them because I feel really bad because they put their time and effort, and they're here away from their families as well. So it's not just me who's disappointed; it's them also. And I hate to waste their time. Everybody's time is valuable, and they're like family to me. And that's what the sport is. I mean, it's you win and you lose, and ultimately it's about going in there and testing your skills, and it doesn't always turn out in your favor. Tonight it didn't for me, and I think they're aware of that. It's just kind of that's how it goes.
Okay, one more question. Any more questions?
Quick follow-up for Damien. Of course, you got emotional after the win. It was a big one for you. You took a moment, kind of sat down on your knees in the cage and soaked it all in. Can you tell us what was going through your head at that moment?
There was mixed feelings. It's like to achieve the 60 win in a row and to be the Brazilian with most wins and to win in that way against a guy, like I said, that I respect very much. And I was like, before the fight, I was wondering, this guy, he has a real, big knockout power. And this fight I can win, I can lose. And I can go to the hospital after that, I can get like a knee to my face or a kick to my head. And this sport is really tough. It's the toughest sport because it's not just about lose, but, you can really get hurt. And to pull that win against him and to everything came to my mind, my family, the chance for the title shot and everything, like I said, that I'm grateful for, that I achieved in my life. Everything came together and then I got a little bit emotional.
And Carlos, I know it's tough to talk about. When you say you don't belong, I think most of us feel that you still have the ability to compete at the highest level. So are you talking about talent, or is it about passion that you just don't have the love for doing it anymore?
I do. Some aspects I definitely am passionate about. I love the preparation. I love, I train really hard for this camp, really hard. Honestly, I've had a tough career with a lot of fights, and I've taken a lot of punishment, and I don't know if I can continue to be, take shots, honestly.
Okay, everyone, thanks very much.